You're telling me that Google can understand the language on my page?
So much fun to see how search engine could be if it wasn't Google. Maybe that's why I'm in China, not in the US.
The Great Chinese Wall. They're coming for me. How much focus do you currently put on SEO?
Zero. Baidu doesn't care at all.
Huh? What are we talking about?
Oh, it's not me. Thank God. I thought it's my VPN.
But why would you update it? It's the same system we're using. Everything is working fine. Don't change something that's working. Are you even scaling, bro? Guys. Fire your team. Use my automation system.
Oh, did I cut off?
Hi, I'm Samy. Welcome back to Collaborator.pro podcast. Today I'm joined by Natalia Witczyk, international SEO consultant, and she made a move that honestly blew my mind. She left Barcelona, and as someone that lived there for like more than 5 years, I need to understand why. She left there for Tianjin in China for a few months, and we're talking about living one of the European best tech scenes, amazing food, militant lifestyle, all of that for a different lifestyle. So I'm really curious about the conversation today. She's also the founder of Mosquita Digital. She speaks 3 languages, works with search engine most of us never heard or touched, and somewhere she convinced Chinese business to care about quality content. So welcome, Natalia, and thanks for being here. And as a fellow Barcelona expat, let's start with you moved to China. I want to know, I'm curious, what made you made that move, even though it's just a 302 redirect, like as you say on your LinkedIn profile.
Thank you for having me, first of all. Very happy to be on your podcast, Samy. And that's true. Barcelona is a hard city to leave, but it's only temporary. Because I feel like at everyone's career, there's a moment when you just want to do something interesting instead of easy. So staying where I'm comfortable and where I know people and I've been for a while would have been the easy choice. But I wanted to learn about different digital landscape and tie it together with my career goals, which is every time be more international and more aware of different markets and different trends. So yeah, hence I'm in China.
Wow, that's impressive. And that's quite exotic choice. And Barcelona got this amazing, tech scene, startup scene, co-working spaces everywhere, lots of things happening all the time. Is it the same where you are? Is it somehow similar? Are you able to also recreate a similar working environment?
So China definitely is not so much disruption and startup driven as maybe Barcelona is.
Yeah.
But it's also more dynamic in other senses. So it's very hard to compare to Spain, to old Europe, to very, very established city, but with this vibe of foreigners who make it fresh and new, right? But I would definitely say that Barcelona has got things I don't have to lose on, and China is the speed and the agility. That's what gets me. So maybe they're not disrupting the whole scene, but they're making things cheaper and faster and more productive every time they can. So it's a very interesting shock of 2 very different approaches and cultures.
Interesting. Oh yeah. So is this something that you notice in in day-to-day life and everything, or is it more like just for some startups, or is it really something that's ingrained in a culture, you think?
I think it's great in a hustle culture they have, because they really are a nation of hustlers and you can see it. Yeah. So literally every week or two, there's a new restaurant or business opening in the neighborhood. And we know it's a new business just because they have this amazing custom where neighbors or family buys those beautiful red flower ornaments that are supposed to be good luck for a new business and basically get bad ghosts away and bring you prosperity. So anytime a new business opens, it's decorated outside with this very specific type of decoration. And while it's a great thing that new businesses open, it also means that other businesses fail. So every 2 weeks or every couple of weeks, some business has closed down. The place was empty and then someone else came in. So there's this mentality of giving it a go, even if it's uncertain and you don't have a business plan and you are willing to go for it. And people work long hours, but they usually prefer to do it when they work for themselves, right? So business owners would open the shop and close it and have the whole family life around that business they have. But they're giving it full. And yeah, you see that in everyday life, 100%.
Interesting. I worked for a Chinese company a few years ago, KuCoin, a crypto exchange. And the experience was really interesting because it was so different from what I've seen working with the US and European companies. And at that time, they were still talking about the 996. Is it still something? First, can you explain for our audience what it is, and is it still something that they're doing? I think it's been banned by the government, but no.
Government is trying to break it down a bit, but culture doesn't change overnight, and working atmosphere doesn't just let it go like that. So 996 is a reference to, actually it comes from, I think, one of the older songs in hustling culture. And then I think the founder of Huawei mentioned it in one of the talks and it became the whole thing. It's basically working from 9 to 9, 6 days a week. That's the approach. Now, employees are not expected to, but the theme is, if you are at work and you're showing your face, that's already adding you extra points. And because now the crisis is approaching and young people specifically feel like it's not easy to get a good job, they don't want to be the first ones to leave the office. They don't want to be the first ones to just, show that they are not working anymore. So this part, government is trying to combat a bit because it's not productive. It's just this sitting in the office culture, right? But there is this part of mentality that you have to prove yourself, and just doing the minimum of the job you're given is not enough. You're supposed to do more.
Oh my God, that reminds me of my first job as a CBD startup at Harmony in Barcelona, 8-9 years ago, a full-time job. It was the same idea, the boss was he thought he was a guru and making the world a better place or whatever. So you had to stay until 8 p.m. If you would leave before him, it was kind of bad, not seen well, with appearances. And I feel
right?
Exactly. And it's such BS because you literally sometimes not doing anything, sitting there and losing productivity and wasting your time. But so you're working with Janemont. You went there and taking Chinese classes 3 times a week, I think you said.
Yes.
And somehow you managed to maintain European clients, I think you mentioned in your past call. So I'm wondering how you're not completely overwhelmed and how you're managing everything.
So first of all, taking classes was a very conscious decision because here in parts of China I am in, which is north, English is just not spoken by anyone. Not a single word of English would be exchanged if it wasn't with my direct boss, who's German, who speaks perfect English. And we hire people in our company based on the language skills, most of all. But outside of office, if I go to a 7-Eleven or restaurant or anywhere in the city, not that work, no English. That just doesn't happen, So English is absolutely not the language to survive on in China. Chinese is essential. So I'm really putting out of effort in learning. And if anyone thinks about coming to China seriously and staying for a bit longer than a tourist trip, definitely start with the language courses, because it's not even about knowing the words. It's actually learning how to pronounce them first. So when you read them off your translator, you make sense.
Oh my God. Wow, that sounds like a huge challenge, but at the same time, as you said it, either you do it properly or you don't do it, because otherwise you're completely stuck and you can do nothing.
100%, yeah, and also, so I don't need the Chinese language skills for work, because here I'm helping Chinese clients expand to the West. So essentially, I'm doing my all-time Google SEO, but just explaining it to different kind of group of clients with different base knowledge and different expectations, which I have to manage very well because that's the biggest challenge with Chinese clients. And then I'm learning on Baidu SEO. I've done some Baidu SEO in the past, so I had base knowledge when I came here, but it was more about access to the tools in actual website data, because you can know the theory, but unless you have the Baidu Webmaster Tools access and you see on your eyes how it pans out for every website that you will analyze, that's when you start to make sense of it. So yeah, that's why I'm here. They hate email. They use WeChat for everything. So they expect you to have a business WeChat account that they can just chat to you on. They don't like email.
What?
Yeah.
Email.
So fully dominated everything. That's the digital tool you need for anything you want to do. It's WeChat.
That's so fun. Every time I see a business asking me to continue conversation on WhatsApp, I'm like, who are you? I don't know you.
Who are you?
Well, wait, my WhatsApp, it's personal. I feel weird. That's so interesting to see how different it is there.
Oh yeah, 100%. And also that also proves this 24-hour mentality that there is not working hours when you reply to an email. If you are there, they don't expect you to answer within 5 minutes, but they would be surprised why you wouldn't want to add them on WeChat. That's definitely something you have to do if you want to have Chinese clients.
Interesting. Okay, and I'm just thinking in terms of making friends and not being lonely. Something like even myself in Portugal, I struggled with, like moving from Barcelona to Portugal. I feel like I isolated myself a lot. Like, how do you manage that? Is there like a nice scene to meet marketers and expats too, or do you have you met more local friends? So I'm curious to know how you adapted.
Great question. So where I'm based, Tianjin, it's not a small city. It's actually a fifth Chinese city, 17 million inhabitants, but it's one of the least international cities among the big cities. So you don't see many international people. Maybe if you go to the center of the center, you see some, but in my district, there's just no foreigners, just me and my boss. It's actually so funny because everyone thinks we're married, because why would there be a single woman in China who's not married to the guy who also happens to be European, right? So we get that question a lot, and his Chinese wife is not happy when he gets asked, exactly that. So I would say it can get lonely. It's definitely lonely when you don't speak the language and you don't integrate as quickly as you maybe would have liked. Definitely Spain is easier for that. What I can recommend, and I'm not affiliated with them, Internations. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Samy. It's actually funny because they just celebrated their birthday. I think it's 11th or 12th birthday. They were founded on top of couch surfing, which maybe you've heard of in the past, but it's not much about the couch and surfing anymore. It's more about creating communities in cities of like people who travel, people who are international, people who moved away from home. So it's basically a website where you have communities in every bigger city of the world. And I hate that term, but I'm going to use it. Expats can meet each other and find their thinking people, basically. So that was a help, because there's a monthly meeting in the city I'm at. And there's mostly Chinese people coming who want to practice their English, or they already know English well and they want to keep doing that. Or a handful of foreigners who live here, who usually are English or German teachers that live here full time on a mission to get China to speak languages.
That's lovely. This is something I miss here. I don't go to those events anymore. I remember going to some of them in Barcelona. That was pretty cool. Actually, I even remember going to the first conference I went to in Barcelona, one of my first conferences overall. I think it was 2021, right after COVID. And I saw you as a speaker at ISS.
Yeah.
That was super cool. But it's true that being alone reminded me that I need that energy I need to meet people. I need to connect again. I need to go to those events, because otherwise it's not the same for me. I really need to connect with other like-minded people, as you said. And when you isolate yourself, also you realize that. So extremes are good for that, right?
Yeah. But I also think it's also it was quite positive for me. Now we're really getting off SEO topic, more personal, but since you've asked, I feel like in Barcelona, I was guilty of not saying no enough to plans. And I had many groups of friends, and I had Polish-speaking friends, and I had English-speaking friends, and I had Spanish, Catalan-speaking friends. And they usually didn't mix just because it was logistically difficult. And then, if you add all this to the mix and my extroverted personality, I would have social plans every single day for the whole week, from Monday to Sunday. Sometimes even double booked. So like dinner and then drinks with someone else, or like Sunday afternoon party and then, things like that. And I think it was a lot of social pressure on me, because I wasn't socially exhausted. I like spending time with people. That's how I charge. But I was logistically feeling like I always have too much on, and that there was no time for me, no time for improvisation, because my agenda was always booked 2 weeks ahead. And coming to China just made me realize how much I actually also enjoy peace. So when I will be back in Barcelona, definitely I'll be saying no more to plans.
You're gonna adjust.
Just to find myself again. It was a good break, because I had time for me just to be in silence, started meditating again, which I haven't done in years because I was always busy with people, things like that. So it's also good to be alone and give yourself that space.
So you mentioned Chinese clients here. I'm wondering, in terms of, you said they're a bit different to manage and to manage expectations. And I think you mentioned in the past also black hat tactics. So can you tell me a bit more about the differences with European clients and different tactics that are used in China?
Yeah, so first biggest difference, and that's more business related difference than SEO directly, is that people who invest in SEO they are usually the founders of the company that wanting to do SEO. So they might have a marketing team, but typically the founder is the person who makes the decisions about the money on every department and every capacity. So you speak to non-marketing people who just goals oriented, and they want speed, because as we said, they love speed here. They start companies quickly, they produce quickly, they ship quickly. So why would they wait for SEO? So the first challenge is explaining that SEO is not something you can just speed up because you pay double. And I've had a client actually ask me if they can pay double and do things twice as fast.
That's so Chinese. I'm sorry to say it like that. That's perfect.
Your pages are not getting indexed, so it's not like I can just double my effort and they're gonna be double the index, So that's the first big obstacle. You just don't speak to marketing people. So even the basic concepts you have to explain from scratch. And then typically it will be a team of people between web development / marketing / operations that also are on the calls, but none of them are fluent. Mostly they are not fluent in English. It's the founder typically who's the international person, maybe lived abroad or studied abroad. They came back to China, they want to make real money and they open the business. And then they have a team. I don't want to say underpaid because I don't know what they make, but typically they are quite young people. So I would assume also junior. That are supposed to implement, but it's the founder that is the brain of the whole operation. So yeah, so the very different kind of communication about SEO. And coming back to Black Hat, because that's an important part of the question, those who did any Chinese SEO in the past, they think Google works very similarly to Baidu, and they expect the same tactics to work. So they are very much link building driven, very much driven on the old school backlink strategies.
Mm-hmm.
In whole seriousness as well, until they've been proven wrong, and they often don't get penalized off the hat like straight away because they're small websites, they're new brands, right? So they're willing to risk more than maybe a Western client. Maybe the risk of a manual penalty is not so ingrained, just because the companies they build, they are not really committed to that brand. It's a brand that's supposed to make money. So maybe the risk acceptance is a bit higher than the typical Western brand client.
Very interesting. They seem quite pragmatic about the thing, just being like, okay, what are the ways to bring revenue? What can I use and how can I use it? How can I maximize everything? And not thinking about the brand, as you said, versus like Black Hat. I haven't heard a client asking me about Black Hat in the last 4 or 5 years. Maybe gambling, only gambling and then trying parasite SEO. But otherwise, it's true that none of my leads or clients ask me anything about that anymore, which is quite interesting to see that it's still popular in China.
Yeah.
And how's the situation with WeChat? Because I think you mentioned that WeChat, they have mini apps that replaces most businesses and that changes like the ecosystem and everything is integrated within WeChat. So how did that change your SEO and overall your marketing? For example, I'm thinking about your tracking parameters, all of that too. And I'm wondering how that's impacted.
Yeah, so WeChat, for those of our listeners who don't know what it is, you could compare it to WhatsApp. Actually, WhatsApp has been more or less based on WeChat, not the other way around. But WeChat is way more because it's the communicator, the connecting app, both between friends, colleagues, users, and business. And businesses used to operate on those official accounts, like chatbots, that then have expanded to being mini apps. So as a business owner, you can develop a mini app that will be part of WeChat ecosystem, meaning that a user doesn't have to install anything when they want to use your app. The only thing they need to do is open the mini app within the WeChat, and it loads there, and you can log in through that, and you can operate on restaurant level and make an order. So oftentimes you go to a restaurant, there is a QR code on the table, you scan it through your WeChat, and a mini program opens up. And that's how you operate on the restaurant level. They don't have to develop their own solutions fully. They do it within the WeChat ecosystem. So now, if you're serious about China, you probably want to either buy a ready mini app system and create your profile there, or basically develop something from scratch. If you're not so serious, but you want to have a presence, you have to simply open an official account and be there for your clients, because Chinese clients don't like to email.
I'm really curious about how you split up your days and maintain your European clients with your work in China and all the schedule. Is it, how do you do it? Just, I don't understand.
Right. So one thing you have to understand about me, I'm all about quality, and I wouldn't be able to sit down for 8 hours and pretend I'm working when I'm not working. I have to move around.
Yeah.
And my clients know it. I think they like the fact that when I do something, I'm going to look for the optimal way. I'm not going to sell them infinite hours of boring reporting that I don't want to do, because that would bore me to death, even if it's more revenue. Okay. So for a while, I've been optimizing my clients, and I've been improving my pricing, and I've been more assertive with how I want to work and what I want. And I found a fantastic group of clients that really are on me with the same right and the same values. So when I told my clients I'm going to move, I told them all, I understand if you want to leave. I can give you great references to people who could take over if you need them in this capacity. And none of them left. All of them said they're going to stay. Some of them reduced the hours a bit because they don't have anything urgent. They did like a more of an ad hoc consulting, like coming in for one topic, one investigation now and then. They're like, it's okay, we can speed up things when you're back. Others literally stayed, and we're doing the same capacity. So I think, one, I'm very lucky, and two, it wasn't a rush decision. I've been preparing for this. I've had really well optimized client list and hours and processes that I could just take away and do in a different time zone, and that helped.
Wow, that's impressive. How many, if I may ask, how many clients are you still managing in Europe?
So I have 5 clients at the moment, and 6th one is on hold. Not all of them are full monthly ongoing analysis. One client is a big university that basically now and then need help with technical SEO, but they handle on-page stuff perfectly because people who run the departments in the university, they just optimize everything, and there is not much competition, right? They are a public university. But every now and then they have this big ask, like now they're migrating to a different URL structure, and the crawl takes 3 days, and then I'm coming and do one off. So it's also fair to say it's not 5 clients that require me weekly on ongoing calls and ongoing projects. But yeah, that's my situation. Ask anything. I'm really happy to talk to people about how I manage my consulting, because I think it's not talked about enough. And I think we are often sold this success story that the more people you hire and the more you scale, the better. But actually, if it's just you, your margins are way better, your flexibility and your sanity is there. And people often buy into your brand. So you don't have to sell so aggressively because you are the person that they know and they trust. You don't have to, have the full team trained that can take over. So you are more reliable this way. And I think this could be a great way of success that many people don't even consider. They think they have to go big. You don't. You can go far.
Also, you keep a real relationship. I mean, like a close relationship with your clients this way. It's you and them, all the time. So they explain why they're also like, okay, you're going to China, whatever. Like, we're working with you, like, it's fine. If they're working with an agency and not you, like Natalia, just a regular agency, random agency, like whatever is an agency, it's not the same when you don't have the same relationship. So I think you're right. Most people think, okay, and now I'm a freelancer, it's working well. What's the next step? I have to scale, get some VAs, get other people working for me doing this, automate that. Okay, I think automating things make a lot of sense when you're alone, trying to save as much time as possible. But I'm also on the same page as you. I'm not trying to hire people or, have tons of people working around me, and then it's a huge amount of stress. I'm trying to understand what I can automate myself, so I don't spend hours on reporting, hours on things I'm not interested in, and provide true value to the client. So then they really trust you. And as you said, again, with the brand, when they want to work with you because they saw your content, they trust you, they saw your expertise, and that's so different than just when I talk to a standard agency. And in terms of conversion too, when you have a brand like yours, also when people come to talk to you, I assume you're gonna have high conversion rate. So all of that works together, in my opinion. And now I'm just blabbering. But if you want to add anything on the topic, I think we've talked enough. So feel free to add more.
No, you're 100%. We're on the same page, and I like that because it's not said enough. And I just want to say, I hate it when people approach you on a conference and say, okay, how many people work for you? Like a measure of success. And I'm like, just the best ones. And they're like, I'm like,
you didn't get the joke?
This guy. I love to troll people like that because this is such a like Silicon Valley kind of, how many million investment, whatever. Like, no, that's not about that.
Are you even saving, bro?
Not my vibe. again, maybe that's why I'm in China, not in the US, right? Living my dream, because my dreams are different. Like I wanna have my own path and that flexibility that allows me to go for 6 months to a different continent and still maintain it. And maybe because you asked me a very round question, so I'm gonna add some practicality to it. Well, China is 6 hours ahead of my part of Europe, which is Madrid, Paris, Berlin time zone. So it means I schedule my calls from 1 o'clock onwards if there are early birds. Very few, but in case I had one client once, I have one client that likes to start at 7:30 their time, so 1:30 my time. So until lunch, I actually have productive hours that I either use working on Jademon projects and Chinese clients, or I catch up with the deadlines I have out there. And then the calls start, and they can only last until my 5 o'clock, because that's my sharp cutoff time. And it's great, because this way also I manage my calls in a normal way. I don't have 8-hour meetings, throughout the day with different person every hour. I can only do 3, maximum 4 meetings a day. I typically have 2, not more. So it makes me really productive, because morning I can focus, I can do deep work. Afternoons for me, I'm just there to talk. And since I enjoy it and actually it doesn't cost me much to have a call, I'm usually also quite more relaxed because I've done everything I should have done. So I'm not in a rush to finish the call if it runs over, stuff like that. And that's my day.
So now let's talk a bit more about, we mentioned already a bit Baidu. And so for some that don't know, it's the search engine used in China. And everyone's talking about international SEO, but most of the times people just mean like just translating content, doing a different language, but you actually work with a search engine where the rules are quite different. So I'm wondering if you could walk us through a typical Baidu SERP with the different results, the ads, do they have AI overviews too? And what's the situation, what's the reality of the Chinese SERPs?
Yeah, so actually I'll start with a bit of context. Baidu is the biggest search engine in China. It's gained its domination after Google decided to exit the market completely, just because of legal issues and how Chinese government imposes some rules that some companies are not willing to meet. And that was the case of Google. Fun fact for you, you can use Google via VPN, but with New Chrome, Google uses your location from your GPS if you have enabled it in your computer, not just the VPN. So although Google is blocked in China, there are users accessing Google from China that will show up in your Google Search Console. So if you ever see this random amount of clicks regularly from China, but from Google, all good. I investigated this when I first arrived here. I was like, what's happening? How is Google getting clicks from China? Completely legal. So when I have my GPS enabled, then the location shows as China, even though it's banned. Okay, that's fun fact for you to start with. And then there's Baidu, which dominates the traditional search. Users don't love it, but it's just we are creatures of habit. So they used Baidu since forever. It's always pre-installed there, and many of them just use Baidu for that reason. One alternative to Baidu is Microsoft Bing, which is operative and works in China. It's got a special Chinese version adapted to Chinese users with Chinese UX. So some users have met random people, but who are kind of willing to see different type of results than Baidu, they switch to Bing. And then you have a couple of smaller search engines that haven't really made their cut yet. So for this occasion today, I've prepared one SERP, and I want to quickly show you and the listeners, because I think it's a fun exercise, and you can do it from home, because anyone from anywhere in the world can access Baidu. So the issues with China is accessing the internet outside of China is hard because there is a lot of censorship, limits, and also loading issues. So there's a mixture of issues. Like CAPTCHAs wouldn't work, Google fonts don't load because Google scripts are blocked. Website can have issues if there's it's Google Tag Manager that might be blocking some part of the loads, stuff like that. However, you can access Chinese internet. You can go to any Chinese website you want. They shouldn't have any reason to block you. So you can go to Baidu.com.
I'm on it right now.
So I decided I'm going to go for a trendy topic, which I can spell exactly same in English and in Chinese, which is iPhone 17.
Well done.
list of how a SERP is and how packed it is and how oversensory it might feel for some people, but it is like that in Baidu. So first thing we have an AI result. And it's interesting because we know that parts of Baidu AI is powered by DeepSeek. They've had some agreement, but it's never clear if it's all DeepSeek, if it's parts of it, because Baidu also is developing their own AI, their own LLM. So you never fully know what's the source. You just know it's some form of DeepSeek or not collaborating with Baidu. So you would say heavily commercial query, right? Just a product. Still, you get the AI result first, and then they integrate what we would call AI mode within the SERP. So they invite you to continue the conversation, and to make it easier, I have the same SERP but translated with Google Translate, so we don't have to scratch our head not understanding what it's all about. So I've literally took the same URL, used Google Translate, which works if you have a VPN on, and translated the same SERP. So you can see, continue to answer you. Of course, that's a translation issue. That's not how it sounds in Chinese. But you can see that you have already pre-rendered some questions that basically keep you within the AI, and then you would jump to the AI tab as soon as you activate those. So that's quite interesting. They are really putting all in on AI. You can even see, even on the right, there is another prompt to do AI search instead. So you have the tab on top. You have the entire pack for the AI, and then on the right. So it's really there,
Really call to action in your face. Buy now, click on me.
Yeah, 100%. Now, product hot sale. Interestingly, the whole feed is powered by JD.com, which is one of the bigger sellers. So no single competitor here, all come from the same website.
Wow. Why do you need competing results when you have the best answer coming from the same source, right?
Exactly. Why competition? And then you finally have the actual official website that is marked as official. And that's the iPhone 17 mainland China website result.
Interesting. Sorry to interrupt you. This official tag, so it's something that's integrated within Baidu to say which ones are the real ones. And
yeah, exactly. I think they know it's noisy, so they try to help the user go to the result if they want to, which potentially most of the users won't even click on the official one, right? Because with all the wealth of information here, no need. Now, next one is Baidu Encyclopedia, which is called Baike, which is their own product that they try to promote very heavily, and that will occupy almost every SERP. Yeah.
Talk about self-promotion.
Exactly. Suggested searches related to our search. Newspack, which in this case, it's not just news, it's actually reviews as well. Images, that's obviously Baidu images, why not? And then apple.com, which is the official landing page for iPhone, not just iPhone 17.
Gotcha. So there are no ads at the end? Or those are...
Definitely,
those are the ads.
Yeah. Yep. But they don't tell you which one is that, which one is not. My guess, all of them are ads. They just not very coming up front with what's happening here as it comes to ads.
Well, if you think about it, that's what Google has been doing over the last 15, 20 years progressively. First the blue links, and then bit by bit integrating them fully with the same UX, UI than the other results. So then you just think, oh, it's a regular result, right? Not an ad.
Yeah, exactly. And for those of you who might be interested more in like China, Chinese culture, Chinese conversation online, on top, on the right-hand side, you have a list of trending topics that are not related to the query. That's just trending like per Google Trends. That's a very common feature that they do just for you to know what people are searching for. And you can just see what's going on in the world according to Baidu. Let's remember that.
Of course, according to them. Can you break it down by category, niche, or anything else, or is just very generic?
So the first one on default is hot search, and that's just top things that just really grab the attention. But then you sometimes have like financial stuff. So you have subcategories as well.
Okay, cool. People's and financial. All right, livelihood.
So not every SERP looks like that. Obviously, there are more niche topics where there's not so much, let's say, competition for such a little space, but it definitely is competitive. So what typically companies do is they go for Baidu ads together with Baidu SEO as one package, and you basically make sure that wherever there is an organic result, you compete for it. So in this case, Apple has done a good job because there could be easily something else overranking them. So you want to have that official website there, because it's not a given. It's also not like a promise thing. If it's an official website, you just get the position.
Yeah. Okay.
But of course, big companies, big tech that sells in China, which, for example, is Apple, they're going to make sure they show up correctly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And probably to close the topic of fun facts in China, when we just opened that result, I'll show you something that I find quite interesting. You might notice that the domain is apple.com.cn.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the domain strategy Apple is using in the other countries and other markets. So essentially, in every other market, apple.com/ and country folder is the way to go. Why did they opt in for the .cn in the end? Baidu is only operating in China mainland. They only support Chinese. You can do some queries in English, but it's not supported language. It's just something that Baidu will spit up results for randomly. So the advantage for being in China is to have a separate dedicated website just for China, not to bother the Baidu crawler with all the noise, and actually focus on one language they support and need for you to succeed. And that's what Apple has done. So yeah.
Wow. That's super interesting. I'm wondering if you've examples where companies were trying to stick with a subfolder and with the same international SEO strategy and just do a /cn, for example, on a .com. And if you've seen the result there and like comparing basically if it doesn't work at all, I'm curious.
It could work, especially if your brand is very known and searched for, and basically there is no better result than your result, then you might still rank. Mm-hmm. But it's a struggle. It's definitely harder. And also, if you don't adjust your website to technical capabilities of Baidu bot, if you don't scrape all the unnecessary stuff away, basically, if you don't clean it up, then the problem is you're going to have Baidu bot lost in all the noise they don't need to hear. So even if you had a subfolder, it is then suggested that maybe you remove some internal links to other language versions. Or maybe you do it for JavaScript, so users can do it, but Baidu cannot crawl that. Gotcha. There are some ways around it. But definitely, if you're starting from scratch and about to launch in China, cheapest, most reliable way, get a separate domain. Doesn't have to be .cn, by the way. It can be hosted somewhere else, but it's just a separate website dedicated only to China. That's the best way to go.
Interesting. To follow up on what you just say about technicals, do you have any specific examples of adaptation you have to make for technical SEO for Baidu?
Yes, actually, I think the biggest change that people don't realize is the fact that Baidu doesn't recognize the no index tag. So no index does nothing. It's literally ignored. You can put it in, pages get indexed, and their documentation simply doesn't mention no index. So they don't say we don't support it. It's just for them non-existent. So to manage indexation within Baidu websites or within Baidu search on your website, you actually depend on robots.txt. And I know Google people and Googlers will be like, yeah, robots.txt doesn't work for indexing. It doesn't manage indexing and manages crawling.
Yeah.
Yes. Baidu is simpler. So in a kind of nutshell, they just don't bother with indexing if it's not crawlable. And that's how they simplify their own process. So yeah, no, you just block robots.txt pages that you don't index in Baidu, and that works. That will work for you.
I see. Okay, so what we tell our clients here in Europe, like to not use robots.txt to control indexation.
Because we have a better solution for that.
Yeah, right? Sure. That makes sense.
You strip that solution away. You do the best you can, which is the closest thing. Which, let's be honest, in 90% of cases, probably using robots to index something, it will be fine. It's not perfect, it will be fine, okay? There's 1% of cases where maybe you want to be more specific. So here, just all way in, just robots TXT, and that's it.
Well, after your hot take, I have John Muller joining us to comment on this. I'm just kidding. Link building, is it also as crucial as for Google? Even though lately, I know that we've been downplaying it a bit. Apparently, it's not as important for some people as it was in the last few years. But in China, is it the same? Has it evolved too lately? Or is it something they don't even care about?
Oh, Chinese market really cares about links and link building. Especially because the speed of creating new brands and new e-commerce platforms and new whatever, they need to kind of catch up with links that Western clients have been accumulating for a time. But also because Baidu really depends on links as well. So they are not as strict as it comes to spam policies, but they're slowly getting there as well. So no one exactly knows how strict they are, just because they don't have such a widespread team that communicates with webmasters. So there's not like people that you know by name and they're like the Baidu SEO people. No. They don't have like representatives speaking at conferences. Actually, they don't do podcasts. They don't do anything that we know from Google. And Google has been doing really well communicating with webmasters. Now we can argue how satisfied the webmasters are with those communications. I think Google is doing the best they can with the circumstances they have. I don't think they're responsible for the changes that they have to communicate. So I really kind of my empathy and sympathy goes to them for doing their best. Baidu doesn't care at all. They just don't communicate whatsoever. Some of their documentation hasn't been updated in 10 years. So you have like last updated date 2014 on like a page that speaks about indexing and stuff.
Yeah, but why would you update it? It's the same system we're using. Everything is working fine. Don't change something that's working.
Exactly. And essentially, just because they have the market dominance and no Western players can just enter and scrape away the market, they can sell more ads. So their revenue looks solid. And they keep reporting high revenues from the ad spend all the time, like now up to date. Baidu search still makes a lot of money. So why would they change it, right?
That makes a lot of sense. So for the links, when I was working at KuCoin, Chinese company, they were really into link building too and really obsessed by it. I was basically 80% of my work was doing link building. I'm not lying. I was doing that in 4 languages across 10 different markets. Wow. It was really a lot. I built more than 1,000 links there. But they really were interested in quantity over quality. And I had to make a case for like literally 8 months, a year to be able to mix it up with more qualitative links and just focus on quality more than quantity. And they were just focusing on DR and some traffic, even if the traffic is not relevant, Is it also still the same situation right now, or are they kind of focused more on quality? Has it evolved?
Definitely focusing on vanity metrics, definitely focusing on impressions, clicks, sometimes when actually the quality pages that are not getting any, and it's all the AI spent content that they've produced with the past SEO agency that they were not happy with. So there is a lot of education to be done. Yeah, they really like the good DR, high DR websites. That's it. Nothing else to say here. It is how it is.
I'm wondering, how do you then optimize for discovery if there's no... I'm not really sure first I understand the concept fully in terms of crawling, indexing, all those mini apps, and how they get discovered. How do you get traffic to them, and how do you track that traffic? This is where I'm a bit kind of lost from what you told me.
Oh yeah, so 100% good question, because when you immerse yourself in that world, you just absorb it, and then you kind of even forget how it was before you use all of this and how natural it becomes. And these are really good solutions. I use my WeChat for my morning coffee every single day, and it's perfect because I order my coffee. The coffee is waiting for me when I arrive. I only show the QR code to the reader and just pick it up. I don't even exchange words with my barista that I see every day. So there are things that definitely very quickly become your nature. But let's take a few steps out. So mini apps, mini programs, they wouldn't be part of normal SEO landscape, and they wouldn't be part, for example, of my optimizations. So there are entire social media teams that are specialists in how to make WeChat work. And they don't make them findable because that depends on your brand and or on your exposure to the app. So as we said, I go to a restaurant and there's a QR code and I scan it, and that's how I get to the mini app.
Okay.
So that's the premises. I already know about the place and the business because I've arrived.
Mm-hmm.
there is a very, very basic search of like locations that you can search a name of a mini app and it gives you a few results, but it's very primitive. It's not like a search experience as we see in search engines. And then there is a very interesting mix of offline versus online, because multiple ads I've seen, even in my elevator when I go home in my apartment building, there is a screen with video ads, with TV ads installed. Yeah, that's very common. You are saturated here with inputs from every side. Some ads are funny. I actually enjoy them. Quite catchy songs and stuff like that. Many of those ads will feature as the last screen, not just the name of the brand, not the URL, but either a QR code, or they will tell you which app to use and what to put in the search box. So you have maybe a product that sells within this supermarket app that they want you to download. And the last screen is showing you the logo of the app, let's say Meituan, which is this yellow, very, very bright branding app for supermarket deliveries to home. And you literally get a query predefined for you. So you look at it and you know what to search to find that. You even have ads, visual ads like TV screens with a little NFC panel installed next to it. So you can straight away connect and make the purchase that they're showing you. It's absolutely insane how commercially driven they are.
That's both so smart and so scary at the same time. So I'm confused, because in the way of optimizing everything, okay, why not? You want to buy something quickly, right? It's smart, right, for the end consumer. But at the same time, it is a little bit scary to me.
I mean, nothing happens organically, it seems. It's all part of a spend. You have to spend the budget on something. You cannot just count on people finding you because you have the best product. And that's a very different approach than I think we SEOs like and appreciate.
Yeah.
Essentially, you could argue there's no inbound, because it's all prompted by some input that they've attacked you with. So it really changes the marketing landscape in a big time.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about retargeting and all of that. And I was thinking the whole thing is completely different. And yeah, you cannot just go there and adjust a few strategies and expect it to work. You need to work on a new, different model. And so earlier you mentioned about the SEO with the PPC. So they're usually done together. So it's really rare to just do SEO on its own. The agencies that tend to always offer both at the same time.
Well, SEO could work if you're solving a very specific problem, and there's just no competition from apps like that in B2B. Because B2B is not on WeChat to the same extent as B2C, of course. And if there is a specific business-to-business kind of thinking mindset, chances are those people use search to find their solution. So it's not, and actually the clients I found, or I've had a chance to collaborate with that were somewhat targeting China, they were B2B clients, all of them.
I've prepared some statements. Some are a bit bold. And the game for Natalia is to tell us if she thinks this is coming from Google. So either the Google Search Central blog or John Mueller, Gary, all those Googlers that we all know and love. If it's coming from random, LinkedIn influencer like me saying some can be BS, can be something true, or if it's coming from the famous Twitter, Reddit underground scene. I mean, now Reddit is good for SEO, though, but Twitter, some of them that I pulled are really, really nasty. So let's see how she is going to do. And I'm going to start with my first quote, if you're ready, Natalia.
I love a good game. I'm ready.
My CTR went up 400%. After I put fire emojis in my title tags.
This is Reddit.
This is Reddit. Well done. You need to start with a good win. AI generated content is fine as long as it's helpful.
Gary Elias.
Yeah, that was coming from the Search Central blog, so probably him or someone from the team. But yeah, I mean, again, some people get too polarized with that. It's AI, it's trash. No, it's trash if you use it as trash. It's a tool. You can always make it better and edit it and add more value. SEO is dead. It's all about geo now.
That could be LinkedIn, that could be Reddit. But I'm going to say LinkedIn to just mix it up a bit.
John Mueller last week. I'm kidding. That was LinkedIn, Twitter. You can see it everywhere. That would have been fun. If John, if you're listening to this, please troll me and post this. There's no such thing as an SEO score.
Google.
Yep, John Muller. Well done. You don't need an SEO strategy. Just post on LinkedIn every day, and clients will come.
LinkedIn.
100% LinkedIn. You just have to post every day, guys. Fire your team. Use my automation system. Like what? I have no team to fire, sir. First,
I'm gonna get you 20 calls in the next week.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of last ones. Let me check. Links are definitely not in a top 3 ranking factor.
Oh, that's Google official statement.
Yep, Gary, it is exactly. That was so fast. No doubt on this one.
I've heard it.
Yeah, I heard it. I'm not sure I agree so much with this one, but I definitely heard it too. I got my site ranking by uploading the sitemap as a PDF to GSC.
Reddit.
I just made it up myself, actually. But that was Reddit style, 100%. Well, thank you for playing along. We'll try to optimize that again for the next round. Now, for the last part, I'm going to ask you some more questions about the conferences and being a speaker.
Yeah.
Something I'm very curious about. So, because I'm not sure about the exact timeline, but from what I recollect, you started speaking quite early in your career. And I really want to know what pushed you to become a speaker and how you managed stress when you did that, and how has it evolved since then, and like tell me about the whole experience. I've never been a speaker. I thought about it on some very, very specific things. I'm still like up to today, like have issue with imposter syndrome and all of that. So I want to hear about how you manage.
That's a great question. And first of all, sorry to hear about your imposter syndrome. I hope we're gonna push you out to speak. Because when you told me you've never spoken at any conferences, I couldn't believe it. I thought with your personality, it's just a given you have. But then I remembered my journey, and I actually heard many times, I already obviously should be a speaker because I'm extroverted and happy to talk to people in general. And then that wasn't the case for a while. So I started quite early in the career, but not on big stages. So first I did like a seminars, like almost like sales seminars that we just gathered some business owners to introduce what SEO is. Mm-hmm. And now that I think about it, it was way harder because it was a 1-hour seminar and I was the only speaker. But I didn't have to train to speak so precisely. Yeah. Because after I passed the stress part, which is like first 2 to 5 minutes, and I stopped breaking my voice and I felt more comfortable, and I made eye contact with everyone in the room because there were usually like 10 people, so it was easy to do. Then I was just chatting to them about SEO. I wasn't giving a talk. So the big transition was when I moved to giving a talk on a bigger stage with different setup, when you can't see everyone and you have very limited time. So time is your enemy. It starts to become your enemy. And I remember the first talk I gave like that in Spanish, I was shaking to the point no one, I think, could understand me. It was a horrible experience. But my mistake was I went to the event a bit late and I didn't see the stage before I went on it. And when I stepped on stage, that's when I realized it's like an amphitheater, or however you call it, like theater setup of the seats. So you see a lot of people all at once, but actually nobody. And I was like, oh, and that's when my
raise on you almost.
Yeah, and I did not expect that because usually I was standing on the same level and just looking at people, and I could catch everyone. And this was impossible to comprehend, And I was not ready for that. And psychologically, just not having seen the room before and then jump on the stage, it was so hard. So I did it, but I'm not proud of that talk. It was probably my worst talk ever. And I was speaking so fast, I was forgetting to breathe.
Oh my God.
So when you start to hyperventilate into the microphone, it's like...
I have a note here, literally, is like, speak slowly, calm down. I get excited and I do the same. And it's so hard when you have this energy.
And you also and if you're stressed, you want to have it over with. So you do it quicker than you should be. So learning from that experience and wanting to speak more, I actually invested in a public speaking coach. And that was the best investment in my life. And I recommend it to everyone. That's the best investment. Because it's not about practicing your talk with your friends, which I also tried to do in the past. It's practicing from the moment you stand up, they clap, you walk on the stage, you stand and you say first words. Because my practicing at home was always like, vale, vamos. And I started with my friends, my Spanish friends, right? I would just start talking. But when you get on stage, you need those first sentences to be really practiced, because that's when you make the most impact, and you basically show the confidence you have. So the first thing that public speaking coach taught me is to practice over and over just the opening part. So now I have my boyfriend, my friends clap and like, Natalia Witczyk, and then I start like if they've never seen me before, And that part, to have that practiced, really takes your stress down, because you nail the first moment, and then the stress naturally goes down.
That makes a lot of sense. I think just gonna compound, and you release the stress, say what you have to say, you train, and
you transmit that confidence, so people see that in you.
Both for the audience and for you, I think it's huge. So yourself feeling that you're confident. Okay, you said what you had to say. Now you can continue. I'm writing this down, actually. I'm writing you tips.
So yeah, if you have the money, invest in a coach. If you're in Barcelona, I can recommend mine. He's the best, Antonio. And he's so supportive. He always sends me a message on the day of the event, like, "Hey, I'm thinking about you." Yeah, and actually, thanks to him, at one conference, International SERPs Summit last year, I actually won the gold medal for the best speaker. So I was
I bought it for you.
Oh my bloody God! I totally blanked out when it happened. I actually started crying. I was like, "No, really, that happened." But it's quite amazing, because from someone who's terrified and had this best experience, in a year, you can turn yourself around and be like, I know what I'm doing because I've trained, and I had a professional come to me and teach me, and also I've practiced, so I've got this, and that changes the mindset so much. So I'd recommend it to everyone.
It's usually about mindset, and I remember your presentation actually, and the one tip that you gave about segmenting your Search Console property by different subfolder language. You're like, oh, that's simple, but I never thought about that. And overall, I remember thinking, your speech, your presentation in terms of content was good, but most presentation that I've seen, it's rare that you find like something that you never heard about. It's more like how you deliver it. The way you delivered it was really, really awesome. And I think you could have talked about anything, literally, and people would still have elected you as the best speaker. Because again, I was like, okay, the topic itself, whatever, but the way you were delivering it was everything.
Yeah, because again, thank you so much, first of all, but also in 20 minutes, can you break the bank and sell something that's never been done before? It's hard, and there's people in the room that have never done any of that anyway. So it's so hard to cater for everyone in the room. So I'm glad you could find something to take out of it. And now I'm actually working on my next speaking pitch, and I'm trying to make it a little bit more advanced for more advanced conferences as well, just so everyone can get something out that they've not thought about before. But definitely keep that tip then, and just to make sure it doesn't disappear from the pitch.
Did you ever get this feedback that like your presentation was too advanced, too technical, and you should do really something more basic because the audience could be more junior? And how do you prepare for that? Do you prepare depending on, I would say, the conference itself, or depending on the presentation you're giving? You're trying to make it less technical, or?
Well, I think the best conference organizers really give you a good brief who's going to be in the room and who's going to be listening. So ideally, you'd cater to exactly people that are going to be there. And I think my mistakes in the beginning when I was speaking was trying to impress other speakers. Because those cool people you've been following for years are in the room, and you want to say something that they're going to be like, oh, they're going to tweet about, And that's the biggest mistake, because that's not your audience. They're not there to learn from you. They don't have to. So impress those people who actually are learning and find the tips useful for them. And probably the best tip on this is to make sure that you order your tips from the most simple to most difficult ones, so you don't lose people too quickly. Because if you jump into the hard one, people might just leave because they're like, I don't know what she's talking about. But if you keep it to the end, then everyone who stayed through will get something harder out of it, So that will be the ideal tip. And then you do quick tips and easy tips in the beginning, and then you have more time to go deeper into the last ones.
That sounds awesome.
No, I'm going to rewatch it anyway. But the thing, this is 100% me, like starting with like, oh yeah, I found this amazing technical thing. Let's just dive into it. And 90% of the audience be like, huh? What are we talking about? Like, I could see this happening, so this is really like a valuable tip for me if I become a speaker one day. Speaking of conferences, you just coming back from Shenzhen SEO in China with more than 600 attendees. So what were you most excited to share? How did it go? Tell me about the whole experience. I'm curious to hear a bit. I don't usually hear about many SEO conferences in China.
That was definitely the biggest conference in China to the date. And there's this fantastic organizer, JP Zhang. He's like really known in the Chinese SEO community. And he brought together the community he's created over the whole period. He's been blogging about SEO. And I think his blog is one of the oldest blogs on SEO in Chinese. Mm-hmm. And he put together a fantastic event because the attendees were so attentive, so keen. And many of them actually had those apps to directly translate in live because not all of them spoke great English, which is quite okay because they've never maybe been to a English-speaking event before. So they were all using those phones and like live captioning what's happening and translating and stuff and taking photos of every slide. So anytime a slide would change, there was just like sea of hands, taking photos. It was quite amazing because you could see people want to be there and they really paid attention. And it was a 4-day event. 2 days were like proper conference style, standard conference, and 2 days were more like city tours and like breakout sessions. So we actually got to visit a couple of Chinese Silicon Valley companies and get to see the offices from the inside, understand a bit more what they do. So that was quite interesting to me as well, just to kind of intercept a bit of this tech mindset and this agility mindset that they develop here.
Interesting. It's true that when I go to conferences in Europe or in the US, most of the times people don't want to be there. I feel like, I feel it's just the companies sending them there. And here, like, no one cares. And so it's really nice to see people that are like more like the Chinese mindset and Asian mindset of all, more attentive and wanted to study and provide the best. So that's pretty cool. And you're also a search award judge, if I'm not wrong. Are you still doing that? So.
Yes, actually, thanks for reminding me. I have judging deadline this weekend, so I have to do it very soon. Start judging this. I do UK Search Awards, European and Global, and this year I also will be judging APAC Search Awards.
You're everywhere. I was wondering, my question about that was, do you see any trends based on the submissions that you, because you see so many submissions, so based on that, do you see any trends? Do you have any edge thanks to this role? I'm curious.
Well, it's really interesting to see because when you do global and European, you get real variety of budgets and real variety of brands and scale of the project. When it's just UK, they're all quite Polish because I think UK market is so mature that people who come to awards and are willing to pay what it takes to enter, they take it really seriously. And with global, it's also fun to see what people consider to be their best campaign because sometimes it's quite standard, need SEO campaign. I'm not going to say they are wrong campaigns, but they don't really stand out from what you see, or maybe they're not so, they don't break the standard procedure you would do for any SEO campaign. But interestingly, it's also nice to compare budgets and see how the industry basically evolves in different scaling of money that they are willing to spend and how they distribute it in every project. So that gives you an edge because it gives you an understanding of what's done where, and that for international SEO consultant as myself also allows me to understand the maturity of every market a bit from the inside.
I would love actually to get some of that data to hear about it. Like, I don't know about being a judge, but seeing all of that from the, from backstage kind of seems really interesting to try to understand the budget they're using, what they think is the best campaign, all of that. I find it fascinating. The judging itself, I don't think I would like it. But yeah. Okay, we're coming to the end of the show, and I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Let's see what you've got for me.
Let's see what I got for you. I'm not sure on myself. I have some questions I haven't asked before. Should I ask them now? I don't know. So the craziest thing you've seen in Baidu SEO, Chinese SEO, or client behavior overall since you're there?
Oh, client behavior. Definitely when the client decided to do alternative landing page that they optimized themselves to compare our work with their work, and they wanted to see if they're doing it better because they don't have a concept of cannibalization. And they basically were like, you optimize that page, and then we will take our own and see who does better.
Wow, same intent, same keyword, same everything. Perfect.
Oh, A/B testing, no?
Yeah, A/B testing, right? But we both are indexed, and then we let the thing choose. The algo choose.
Yeah.
I like the style.
I mean, there is logic to it if you don't know how SEO works.
One prediction about Western companies. Do you think they finally start caring about non-Google search engines, or are we staying still in the Google bubble?
I think with the recent ruling of the DOJ, nothing's going to change. Google hasn't been penalized at all, so they have no incentive to do anything, and it's going to stay as is for a very long time. I think LLMs are going to slowly take over Google faster than any other search engine. That's my prediction.
Next one is about DeepSeek. I wanted to know how popular is it? Is it like GPT in the rest of the world? Do you use it yourself? From the SERP you showed us on Baidu, it seems quite popular. It was already there. Yeah, I have really little knowledge about DeepSeek.
DeepSeek, everyone is using it. My colleagues are using it daily. I don't use it because there is this thing I've heard actually from a journalist explaining like DeepSeek versus ChatGPT, and they were like, DeepSeek thinks in Chinese. The structure of the sentences, the logic and the narratives, and it's Chinese. You could use it as an English speaker. I personally am a huge fan of Gemini. I think Gemini does the job for me, so I'm Team Gemini.
How much focus do you currently put on Geo?
0.
Geo 0. It rhymes. It's perfect. You know,
international.
Questions too.
The principles have not changed. The principles have not changed at all. The only thing I could pay attention to is measurement, because clients ask about it.
Yeah.
So I set up those GA4 dashboards that measure traffic coming from referral from LLMs. That's it. That's the most I can think about it at the moment.
What's the biggest misconception Western SEOs have about international SEO? Like for me, it's just to translate and pray, but maybe it's something else for you.
I think hreflang. People just want to implement it, tick the box, and be done with it. And the truth is, most websites don't need hreflang. They're actually perfectly fine without it. So I think that's the biggest misconception that keeps being repeated as well on stages sometimes. And I'm like, no. If you have French, German, and Italian, Google has no issues understanding which one is which. Why would you need to implement something expensive and quite difficult for some CMSs when there's absolutely no benefit from doing that?
You're telling me that Google can understand the language on my page? Is that what you're saying?
I know. Shocker.
Next one, I'm just curious about your next conferences and your schedule when you're coming back to Europe. What are your plans?
So first thing I'm going to do in Europe is go to the UK Search Awards, actually. So if any of the listeners will be there, catch me, say hello. And then I'm just closing some negotiations. I'm going to speak in Australia in February. So hopefully there will be a meetup, a conference. Not a huge event, but huge for me because I've never been to Australia before.
That sounds great.
And so that will be really fun.
Yeah.
And also I'm going to use this platform and shamelessly plug myself and say, I am open to speaking opportunities. So next year you organize an event in Europe or outside, I'm willing to travel, more than willing. Have in mind.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Natalia. That was lovely. I appreciated that talk so much. And that's a wrap for this Collaborators podcast episode. So if you guys made it through Natalia's Baidu Serves demo and WeChat explanation, I think you are officially more knowledgeable than 90% of SEO.
And honestly, Baidu.com, go test it. It's so much fun to see how a search engine could be if it wasn't Google, you know? So I will invite you to try.
I find that fascinating.
Thank you for having me, because it's nice conversation, off script, actually talking, you know, discovering topics together. So I really enjoyed that. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you so much. And people, please reach out to Natalia if you have international SEO needs, if she has availability in the future. But she's the best at what she's doing. So reach out to her and check out Collaborator.pro. We are a PR distribution marketplace. We connect advertisers and publishers. So go check it out. As always, thanks for your time, and feedback is always appreciated. Feel free to leave any comments, and take care. Bye.